So this is the story of two NHLs. The NHL in reality and the NHL as seen by referees and linesmen. It came to a head in the 1980s with the triple threat of Terry Gregson, Kerry Fraser, and this guy we're talking about today, Don Koharski. Now, Don Koharski, the only good thing about him for a lot of people, he's born in the beautiful community of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, but due to his inconsistent time as a referee, made a lot of enemies in the NHL, a lot more enemies amongst the fans of the Maple Leafs, the Flyers, the Bruins, and especially Canadians, which would draw most of his ire. But of course, the infamous incident involving Jim Schoenfeld in the 1988 Prince of Wales finals between Schoenfeld's Devils and the Boston Bruins. Now, Boston had defeated Montreal in the quarterfinals to give it an opportunity to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think it's the first time Boston beat Montreal in the playoffs after 18 tries since, I think, 1943 or so. Now, after the May 6th playoff game where Boston lost 6-1, where there was, I guess, some extremely bad calls by Koharski in the eyes of Schoenfeld, Koharski was confronted by Schoenfeld when Koharski was skating off the ice. Now, he had words, and according to the videotape you see there, Koharski apparently stumbled when his skate blade gave out. Of course, Koharski at the time was a little bit above average for weight, and the referee then accused Schoenfeld of bumping him, which the coach denied. Now, Koharski is alleged to have said, "Oh, you're gone now, you're gone. You won't coach another." Schoenfeld said, "You fell and you know it. You know you fell. I didn't touch you." Koharski said, "You're gone, you're gone." I hope it's on tape. Schoenfeld said, "Good, because you fell, you fat pig. Have another donut. Have another donut." Now, the ire against Koharski wasn't made up by Schoenfeld. Many coaches and players and fans of the NHL were extremely disappointed with his referee style. Seemed to hold spite against certain players, would give double penalties for no reasons, give a lot of penalties in the early parts of periods, especially on Hockey Night in Canada, which was the Saturday night game in Canada at the time. Now, Koharski, Fraser, and Gregson's interpretive bad calls eventually led to the NHL taking the names of the referees and linesmen off the back of their jerseys or striped jerseys so they wouldn't get ridiculed. But, come on. Now, this is what happened. The next day after the incident, NHL Vice President Brian O'Neill announced just hours before Game 4 was being played at Meadowlands, the Devils were on the road for the Bruins are on the road for games 3 and 4, that Schoenfeld was suspended for at least one game pending further investigation, whatever that would mean. The Devils, however, got in touch with Bergen County Judge James F. Madden, which probably Trump tried to track down with the machinations with the foolishness this week, to issue an injunction to allow Schoenfeld back in the coach's box just before the game was scheduled to start. Now, showing solidarity with Koharski, though, referee Dave Newell and linesman Ray Scapinello and Gord Brossiger refused to work the game, as did backup referee Denny Morrell. A sellout crowd was forced to wait over an hour until replacement officials could be found who were dressed in practice jerseys that looked like rejects from a security guard for an ice capades. Anyway. Now, Paul McGinnis, a manager of a skating rink in Yonkers, New York, took over as referee, with Vin Godelski and Jim Sullivan as linesmen. He didn't do too bad of a job. I watched the game. And, the players on both sides were just shocked that these professional referees had boycotted because of what happened. Now, New Jersey won Game 4, and after a proper hearing was held for Coach Schoenfeld, he was indeed suspended for Game 5, in which Devils GM Lou Lamoriello made his NHL coaching debut. Now, the Bruins had went on to win the series in 7 games, but they were swept by the Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, the Schoenfeld, again, the suspension including a $1,000 fine for him, a $10,000 fine for the team, and the officials were placated and returned to work. Now, this incident was also parodied later in the movie Wayne's World, when a rather large and apathetic police officer named Officer Koharski hung out at the counter of Stan Mikito's donut shop. The movie used Stan Mikita's as the name of a donut shop as a parody reference to the chain Tim Hortons. Coincidentally, during the final part of his career, Tim Horton himself teamed on defense with a young Jim Schoenfeld with the Buffalo Sabres. Later, Schoenfeld often paired with another person that didn't like linesmen and referees, the great Jerry Korab. Now, how critical do we have to be about Don Koharski? Well, let me put this in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. I was working for the Campbellton Tribune in northern New Brunswick many years ago. There was an occasion where Don Koharski was to show up for a celebrity golf tournament at the nearby McLeod's golf course. I told the lady in question, "Are you going to give him security?" And the lady didn't know about the incident. She was well informed 2 days later, where some of the confreres in the association said, we may have to need security. There was no incident, of course. But allegedly, when he was walking on to one of the holes, a voice could be heard in the wind saying, "Have another donut. Have another donut. You fell, you fat pig." I don't know if this is a legend or not, but if the ghost of Don Koharski's donut incident continues to haunt Don Koharski, good enough. Don Koharski, I have been a journalist all my life, 37 years. I've seen many of the games you refereed. You're not the worst referee of all time, but you're pretty frickin' close. You let your ego get in the way in most of the games you played. I'm glad that you used to work at a milk farm as a 19-year-old in the WHA as an official. Fine, all the power to you. But if a journalist of 37 years who's won every conceivable award for sports and print sports in Canada think you're one of the worst referees ever, ain't my doing, Mr. Koharski. I'll say it to your face. I'll say it to my dying day. You caused the incident. You never took responsibility for the incident. You thought you were better than a lot of people. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, but when you were put that whistle in your hand, that wasn't made you Lord of the Manor. So what I want you to do, look me up in New Brunswick. I'll buy you a donut. We'll sit across the way and I'll tell you exactly what somebody should have told you years ago. You're not as good as you think you are. How many games did you corrupt with your bad penalty calling or lack of calls? How many games did Kerry Fraser corrupt? How many games did Terry Gregson corrupt? You were the three evils, not the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. You were the three evils of the NHL. When you and Fraser and Gregson were doing the game, people were just throwing their hands up in their family. The shit's going to hit the fan. I don't know why you're like that. You know, good Dartmouth boy. People from Dartmouth are usually nicer than you are. And again, you might be nice in your personal life. All the power to you have. But as a hockey referee, pooey. And you have to live with that the rest of your life. I'll go to my grave saying, Jeffrey talks a lot. You'll go to your grave saying, oh, that's that donut guy. They're not to take your endearment, by the way, to the Nova Scotia hockey community. Anyway, that's my opinion. Have a good day. Bye.